Daniel and his people were taken into captivity in Babylon. In a captivity, life does not supposed to be pretty. But a moment after they arrived at Babylon, the king has decided to select some young men and train them so that they can have a position at the palace. Daniel and his friend were also among those selected. Daniel and his friend could use this opportunity as a privilege. Here they are in captivity, probably for the rest of their life. At that point, they were thinking things will not be pretty. Life will not be easy. But here they are among those that were chosen. They were so lucky to be chosen by the king himself. What a glowing moment for this young man. It could not get better. Life could not get better because they are now on their way to become somebody. They are on their way to become a man of a high class. On that journey, the king has offered or ordered that this young man must be served a food that comes directly from the king's table and the drink also that comes from the king's table. What a great moment. What a chance that this young man had. They could become so proud. They could become so elegant. They could be seen themselves on the top already. I know some of the guard will even be envying them. They will be jealous. We have been here for long and we didn't eat directly from the king's table. Here this young man will be eating that delicious food of the king. But Daniel and his friend refused to eat that special food. I know some of the guard will look at them and say, look at this fool. These young men are out of their mind. I don't even think they will succeed in this program. If they could not appreciate, they cannot see this offer from the king as a special treatment, how could they succeed to this program? But Daniel and his friend opt out of this special treatment. Instead, they want to eat only a vegetable. You see, the guard was surprised and were begging them to not refuse because the king will be angry at them. But they stood their position. And because they want to respect the law, because they want to live a pure life, God was on their side. God's hand was working on their behalf. So the guard finally said, okay, let us go and tell the king. The guard approved their decision to eat only a vegetable. Let's see, 1 week to it to see how you guys will be looking like. Then we can see if we can continue that type of diet for you. The Bible says after a few days, Daniel and his friend were looking very good, even getting fat than those who are eating a special food from the king's table. Daniel and his friend could just easily accept that offer and eat the food and the drink from the king's table, because they were in a captivity anyway. They could say, what is that God? The God that we want to serve, the God that we are fearing, what is that God? And he led us to become captive. Why? Why should we still continue to rely on that God? Let us enjoy ourselves with this delicious food and drink from the king's table. But instead, they say, no, we won't do that. We will stay who we were. We will respect our God. Why did they make that strong decision? I think maybe, just maybe, Daniel and his friend may be thinking that maybe some of the food, some of the meat that will come from the king's table might be among the forbidden food in their culture, according to their law. So they will be violating their taboo. Just maybe. Maybe they will be thinking that the meat that will be coming from the king's table might be an animal sacrificed to other god. So that is not pure for them to eat. That will violate their religious statute. Just maybe. Just maybe Daniel and his friend, I say maybe because the Bible does not express completely all the reason that this young man brought out. Just maybe this young man didn't want to build a close relationship with the king. Because a food, when you share food with someone, when you are sitting down and eating with someone, it's a public declaration of your relationship. Maybe, just maybe, they don't want to accept this offer so that the king will say that they accept his relationship, and also that the king can become their patron, their boss. The king can manipulate them with the food, knowing that they are Jewish, knowing that there's certain food they will not eat, while one day the king decided to offer them exactly that, to manipulate them. Just maybe. But this young man decided to live a pure life. Because they decided to live a pure life, God was on their side. My friend, my brother, my sister, what have you done regarding all the opportunity of corruption that were offered to you? What are you going to do when the opportunity of corruption will be offered to you? Will you take it because you think that will give you a position? Will you take the corruption, because it will give you a wealth. What are you going to do? These young men have a chance to enjoy the food of the king, to drink the drink of the wine of the king, but they refuse that privilege. What are you doing? You know it's wrong. You know the step that you are going to take is wrong. You know what you are about to do is wrong. But you go for it anyway because you think that will give you a pleasure. Because you think that will give you a satisfaction. Because you say to yourself, oh, that will give me a good position. That will give me a wife. So, hey, let me go for it. My friend, can you learn a lesson from these young men that stood their position to honor God, and God came to their side? I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you. Do not assimilate yourself with the wrong. Do not assimilate yourself with the wrong, but stay to the truth, and the truth will set you free.